we're back.
We're back.
Unexplainable how that happened, but
Technology.
I
All
think
of the
Donna can
bright
explain
energy
it. Energies.
in the room.
Energies.
It was the
So,
energies were
Everything's a
quantum leaping us
vibration and a
forward into
frequency,
our
and we
day.
took down. We took it down.
Absolutely. So, without further ado, I'm going to bring back to the stage, Barbie Layton, and welcoming to the stage the one, the only Masati Sajadi. Masati. Okay,
Hey, guys.
so I am going to take myself down on the stage, and I'll give you the full stage to highlight and interview Masati, and Masati, whatever it is that's within your leading to direct us. I think you sourced this, Masati, because on the other one we're limited by time. Like we gotta get off of it now. The stream is ending. Now we don't. So we will have Larry Holmes after this, and we have time. So go ahead. Welcome,
Great
Masati.
manifesting, you guys.
So what are we talking about?
Hello, Masati.
We've been
Hey, guys.
talking about energy, vibration, and frequency, how it all works, creating instantly, being in alignment, and here we are.
Okay.
So share with us your thoughts about quantum mechanics, quantum healing, spirituality.
It's actually quite interesting. I don't know, for those who know me, you obviously know that the frequencies that I generate and that we all generate are different levels, and I could really get into the deep science behind it or the quantum mechanics behind it. But overall, basically, there's different layers of energies or frequencies that we emanate. Sometimes when you get a vibe off a person, that's when you meet somebody, or some people who are very, very sensitive, some people who are very, very empathic, they walk into a room or they walk into a group of people, and then they bring home all that garbage. A lot of healthcare workers, they don't know why they're sick. A lot of times, for example, too, when loved ones, our loved ones die, and then that individual that is more empathic, they turn into that person that just died. Give it about a year or so, and they morph into, or they get the same diseases. So those are all kind of like frequency transfers. There's different levels of frequency transfers. There's surface level frequency transfers, like visual cues, the five senses. Those are just different frequencies. There's sound, light, sound, auditory, and so on, like that. And then there's emotional frequencies and so on. But then there are deeper frequencies, like what we emanate. Again, the vibe that you get from people. That's that level of frequency. And then the knowing, we get into, say, psychic abilities, intuition, knowledge, aha moments. Those are, again, deeper and deeper layers of frequencies. And then we get into this bridge layer that goes beyond, say, the physical realm, beyond time and space. And quantum neurobiology actually talks about that, where the cells communicate again into this unknown, as Einstein would put it, spooky action at a distance. So you get to that point, and that's the level I work at the core level frequency, or I've dubbed it. Oh, it's nice to see you, Joy. I've dubbed it inception frequencies. So that's core level frequency, or the origin of your frequency, the blueprint of who you are. And if you can edit people at that level, you can do fantastic things. By the way, really, you can transcend space and time. You can heal beyond, say, the normal healings. You can transform your life, relationships, literally in a very fast period of time at the inception frequencies. The lower level frequencies are, psychology, mental states, and that's where most of the leadership programs, and again, no offense, I'm just telling you where it all is. Things of, motivation, self-improvement methods, things of that are kind of like in the center. So you have your inception frequencies, and then, psychology and so on starts, in the center, and then you have your physical frequencies there. So and this is where people who are into psychology and self-improvement, and again, there's a lot of great information out there. We're still that same person, but now we have a different point of view of ourselves, and we try to push that, but our frequency is still our core frequency or our inception frequency is still us. So we need to change our core level frequency to really make massive transformations or long-lasting transformations, where we can actually enjoy, the success and all the abundance that this reality has to offer us. I mean, I can go
Wow.
on, but
I
you guys.
know we can have a great conversation because I'm always so curious. And what I want to know is, how do you know when you changed a core frequency, and how do you get there? As
Sure.
a follow-up question.
Love that.
Really, really, really great question. So when you change at a core frequency, you just know that you are everything that you. Well, let me give you an example here. So when you know the truth, say that somebody tells you the truth, and then it just like awakens you, and literally when you know that truth or when you hear that truth, all the aspects of how that truth affected like previous experiences in your life show up in your mind, or you start to remember all the time. Does that make sense to you?
Mhm.
Okay, so that is a core level frequency or a base level frequency of that truth. It changes your experiences. So how do you know when you start to shift? You don't have to force yourself to transform. You don't have to have, say, a morning routine, a night routine, or anything like that. You just are. You don't have to, say, claim to be somebody else, because most people, say for example, they have a morning routine. They're their person that's groggy. They're very hurt inside. They've got a hell of a past life, not past life, but hell of an experience. But then they put on, say, a CEO outfit. It's like, gosh, I'm going to be a CEO. And then they get into their CEO mode. And they're two very different people. So you burn out that way. You aren't yourself that way. Again, and I have a lot of CEOs that connect with me. Go, shit, I'm burnt out. A lot of women, they start to lose their identity of who they are. When you're changing at a core frequency, you don't burn yourself out. You become more. You become more expansive. You become more euphoric. You become more almost like there's a presence or an essence around you. You become more attractive at a very deep level. And as you go through your work, again, in the morning, you don't have to wake up going, God damn, I have to forget who I am and all the problems, and wear my CEO suit, or my wife suit, or my parent suit, whatever it is. You just naturally morph into that expansive state. So you can tell the nuances is very there. It leaves telltale signs. Plus, you don't need motivation, really. You just are. You just naturally motivate.
Just
You have
is.
that passion that most successful entrepreneurs possess. They have that drive, that passion, that seems magical, but there's a science behind it.
Can I share also a technique for the audience as well?
Absolutely.
So one of the things that I like, especially because I love to work with CEOs and professional athletes too, et cetera, I think that going through what, like we were talking about, the psychology where you're dealing with trauma and depression and anxiety, there's nothing wrong with that. But then I think when you're a certain level of where you're wanting to really improve, because if you have a CEO that's working with 100,000 people, if you do sessions with them, you literally can trickle that down through their whole entire organization, which I think is just really, really amazing. But starting off where somebody's not really into this kind of like work, et cetera, and it doesn't really make sense to them originally, I think that setting an alarm on your clock every hour on the hour of checking with what your vibe is, because Dr. David Hawkins talks about power versus force, so there's a consciousness scale. And so I work with 528 hertz. That's my favorite frequency in regards to love, creativity, and DNA. And allowing that to the point of where it's like I have like a little, you can buy a little love tuner on it and it has that frequency. And by toning that or to be listened to it in the background, it's an amazing thing to be able to shift, because it's a pattern disruptor that every hour on the hour, you're recalibrating where you are, just like what Mas was talking about in regards to the waking up and being groggy and then going into CEO. There is a definite feeling on that too. I mean, even before I go on camera anytime, I do a whole ritual called becoming Barbie. And I just, I do this whole thing of where it's like an adornment, and I get to do my makeup. And it's just like, how can I shine my light the brightest that I possibly can to the people who need to hear whatever message that I need to bring to the table. So just that one little technique can be something that's really, really small, of just recalibrating your frequency just every hour in the hour.
Wow. Wow. And Jim, you're sitting there. You have this most curious look on your face. Let's pass it over to you for a moment.
Well, I am, of course, I work in the field of influence. And one of the things that I'm very cognizant of is the emotional state and the energy that I'm able to emanate in order to induce specific states that individuals are more empowered in taking action in, right? And I know for certain, well, I can tell you this, I have never seen anyone enroll in a program or purchase a product that was not emotionally excited to some extent to take the action with, right? It's not a logical, there's logic that's associated with it, but here's the question that I want to ask you, Masadi, and that is, I'm on your website, I'm reading about your program, and the first one of the aspects that you have on your program is eliminating human distortions.
Mhm.
I'm wondering, before it is that we can move into whatever the higher resonance or energy, forgive me not knowing the languaging, is it necessary for me to do some sort of cathartic removal of distortions to clear way for this new person or the unlocking of my potential?
Oh, absolutely. You can do it the other way, and most people do it the other way. You know, they are who they are, and then they'll add on success habits. Again, what happens is that that inner person is still that person. You know, they're still hurt. They're still, their past experiences are following them with. So most people, again, what they do, or even if they influence, if you're in the field of influence, you know, they might wear the right, you know, tie or the right color and all those things. Again, those are external influences. But what you want to do is, you know, you are of great influence already. So what I do is like, let's go, instead of adding more stuff onto you, although we do need to, you know, have success habits and so on like that, although they do come a lot easier and much faster. But let's go inwards. Let's go inwards on why you want to have success, why you want to influence people, why you want to do the things that you do. And a lot of times there's a deeper reason, like falling in love or making money. A lot of people go, well, you know, if I make a, you know, a hell of a lot of money, then I'll be happy. But then how many people do you know that make a hell of a lot of money? And I mean, you know, Barbie and I, we work on people like that all the time, you know, so those are the outside extraneous type aspects that we put on. So to do it properly, you go inwards and clear out the trash that you've accumulated over not just your lifetime, but again, your parents' lifetime. Those are all, you know, frequencies that you're resonating, you know, and with my abilities, I can like tap into you and I go, oh, something happened to you when you were like 24, you know, and that's still resonating. That's coming through. People see it at an unconscious level and experience you with all those distortions at an unconscious level. I see it as a conscious level frequency that I can literally tap into. But the decisions and the persuasion that people have over you is that the clearer that you are, the clearer the vessel that you are, the more influence that you have. I mean, look at the great influencers, Jesus and Buddha, you know, Muhammad, all those individuals, they just walked into a place and you didn't even know, you don't have to know who they are. They're just like, who the hell is that? I want to be with that guy, you know, and that comes from an internal aspect of who you are. So once you have that solidified, then having success habits start to become a part of you. It's a natural presence of you. It's not an extension of you. And that's really key. You become the success. You are the success at a very cellular level, and it doesn't degrade you. The other aspect starts to separate and degrade you and destroy you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Actually, Jim, I would be really curious because you were talking before on one of the previous sessions today about the fact that you could do a Zoom and a sales call simultaneously, and that they were doing this microaggressions, what the CIA used to do. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I'm just curious in that sense too. I'm wondering how that can actually be manipulated in a way too, because what Mas was talking about, I'm sorry, Masadi. I know you as Mas from before,
Either
so
way,
sorry about
either
that.
way, Barbie, it's all good.
Okay.
Same person.
But it's still, from that perspective, it's like like what he's saying. It's like literally being able to tap into somebody and seeing a trauma that they have of where, you know, they held tears in the back of their thighs from they're 40 years old. Because I had a client who's, you know, therapist started sleeping with her boyfriend and she vowed she was never going to cry again. And so it was like, oh my God, you've got all this, like all these tears in the backs of your thighs. And literally within like a week, she released 20 pounds of weight off her. She's like, well, that's the last time I ever cried. And so it's almost like pulling a Polaroid out of the person from those traumatic memories, like what Mas was talking about. It's that it's the really, really, it's so profound. I mean, it's like, it's so, and it's so fun, right, Mas? It's like so fun to be able to say,
Absolutely.
you're going on this excursion, like this treasure hunt, to be able to find out what it is. And then I have people like, you know, oh, I just lost 20 pounds off of my thighs in like a week, or they have something of where it's like, it's so beyond, and it's something that the medical establishment can't really explain. And we're not doctors. And I know, like, Mas, I love your disclaimer. It's probably one of the most thorough disclaimers out there anywhere, because you're very clear, like, hey, these results are not typical and you're going to get what you're going to get. But it's still that I would be curious. So, Jim, what you think about that in regards to energy medicine versus kind of like this now, almost an AI microaggression, looking at the way that you're reacting? Because we know body language where people put their finger on their nose and it's deception. We know people do this, they're nervous. You know, there's a lot of things where 90% of the expression that we're giving, it's nonverbal. So I would just be curious as to what your opinion is on that, Jim.
Well, I mean, I believe in both. I mean, I've seen it in action from an AI perspective, and I also believe in energy. I mean, I remember one time, you know, because I'm a very conservative guy, and these kind of conversations, you know, that really didn't resonate with me for a while. But then, you know, I had a woman who was pregnant, a friend of ours, and she said, "Put your hand on my belly, and I'm going to send you my energy through my baby to your hand."
Mm.
And she did, and it went all through my body. And it's like, oh my God, this is a real thing. The whole conversation of energy, but you know, I mean, I obviously certainly respect and believe the work that you're doing. There's some brilliant minds. I mean, some of the most brilliant minds and conversations that I've ever heard are around this topic. I also too am a man of faith, so I'm always listening. You know, how is this resonating with my faith and the conversations that I hear that I know that are biblical? Because a lot of biblical conversations also have almost this quantum physics type of, you know, when you know the transubstantiation, the transfiguration and ascension of Christ, all of this, when he became light, you know, all of these types of events that have taken place that I know are in the real world, right?
Water into wine, the loaves of bread and the fish. Absolutely. Totally.
Yeah.
Exactly. Get what you're saying.
What I
like
true.
oh,
Go ahead, Masati.
Oh, thanks. Well, I like what you said, Jim, that, you know, there's different aspects. You know, there's a religious aspect, there's a frequency or spiritual aspect, or, you know, the frequencies that we're talking about. Then there's the quantum side. But, you know, in today's world, actually, everything is merging together because it's at that level. And even right now, I can't say much about it, but I'm actually working on a quantum computer to help them understand, or to help the quantum computer reduce its errors. And they've had phenomenal results on, and like provable results on, you know, because they've done millions of, you know, runs or tests on how accurate their quantum computer is. And when you can go in and like edit it without, you know, just editing it, and the computer is like 1,000 miles away, it's like, shit, how did you do that? How do you do that? So those are like valid facts. Or you know, there's a study on my website where, you know, the Emoto study, where, you know, I meditated on a water crystal, which was in Japan, again, thousands of miles away. Amazing results, amazing transformations. How does that all work? You know, there's so much proof out there, but since it's not as tangible, people can't say wrap their head or mind around it, and then they'd rather stick to old patterns, which is unfortunate. But either way, we're going to go towards the new process or the new consciousness, which is again all about frequencies.
Mm-hmm. And I was going to say, and you were leading exactly where I was going, Masadi, because after studying many religious pathways and many spiritual pathways and quantum physics and quantum mechanics, they're all merging into a oneness, which is the fabric they call the fabric of life, and how we are all connected. It's just what set of glasses or what set of lenses do you want to look at the different aspects through? But it's all leading and coming together to a universal truth. And how does it work? You can take two cells from a liver and put cell number one in Switzerland and cell number two over in Washington State and traumatize cell number one, but cell number two over here, they're not touching, they're in two different locations, responds as if it was traumatized. And then it leads me back to how does it really work if we pray, if we meditate? We send out the different frequencies and the Buddhist monks and the different people that when they do, crime rates go down because there's a new energy of peace coming in. So one person, no matter which set of attacks you look at, one person can truly make a difference in this world. Absolutely.
Well, we actually affect 750,000 people with our frequency around us. And that's something that David Hawkins was able to prove. And I know for me personally, I know this sounds kind of weird and kind of hippie like, but I get really upset when I hear trees being trimmed because it's almost like I feel like there's this pain that's like, I know that they're being pruned back. And like if a bonsai tree, I mean, that's such a beautiful art of where you prune it back and you place it where you want to make it. But it's still in the sense of where it's like, I just, wood chippers. I mean, it hurts my heart. I don't know if you guys can relate to that at all, but it's just the frequency of the trees. I'm like, no, don't hurt them. Please don't hurt them.
Mine are leaf blowers first thing in the morning on a Sunday.
I love that. I have a question for you all. Earlier today, we talked about emotional regulation and, for entrepreneurs and business leaders, not enabling their emotions to get the best of them as they're navigating their everyday, being aware of them. But earlier, Mazadi, you talked about being able to see something that happened to someone when they were 24 and how that might be creating a block, and clearing to let go and let flow, but also clearing to be able to navigate everyday life. What are some thoughts or ideas or suggestions that you have for the individuals tuning in about how they can take this conversation that we're having about frequency, about blocks, and figure out how in their own life they can maybe work to remove some of those blocks that they have, to then be able to be more decisive, to be more aware, to be less afraid to move forward in their lives and in their work experiences?
Okay, well, there's a couple things that you can do almost immediately, and people who have done them, they actually have gotten off their psychotic medications. That's how powerful this process is. Although it is very, very simple. And again, I kind of talked about it in the beginning of the show, but I think it's worth going back. It's called spatial referencing, where you literally start to see objects around you, and you can do it visual or auditory or the five senses. But anyway, take a couple objects around you and then point on your body, like the tip of your nose or your left ear or whatever it is. Again, it's always the object and then a point on your body, not the other way around, because in quantum science you want to define the dimension of space and time that you create yourself in. Okay. And I know this goes beyond the mental state. The first thing that happens is that you start to become aware of who you are, and you start to become aware of how you are literally rendering or creating the reality that you think is so real. Because that reality can shift like that once you change your point of reference. So your emotional states are actually just a point of reference for you. So when you start to change, and most people again do it in the brain, although there's a lot of damage, or say that somebody's been really hurt or can never trust anybody, and then they go into a new relationship. Well, that whole thing is that whole issue pours into that person, and then they're trying to hold their emotions back to go and shit. You know what? I've been lied on. I've been cheated on. I've been mistrusted, and now I'm jumping into a new relationship. And then again, we try to focus on, okay, this is a new relationship. I'm going to start fresh. But in that new relationship, you just brought all your old baggage with. So when you start to spatial reference, it's really important that you start to observe how you create yourself in the reality. And then from that, if you keep doing it, and again, it doesn't take long, what happened for you is that you start to observe actually the frequencies that you're generating, or the filters that Donna, you were talking about, all the filters that we see ourselves through. You go, oh gosh, now I understand why people treat me the way they do. And then you just keep throwing those filters out. And it's not a mental state, by the way. It literally is. You throw those filters out and your mental state changes just like that. And very, very powerful.
And if I could add to that too, kind of a variation of what you're talking about. I know that the way that I kind of like got thrust into a global stage was during the pandemic in August when I did the Best You Expo. I think you were on that too, Moss. That's when you and I first met, I think 4 years ago. And I did a whole thing about extreme gratitude because everybody was losing their minds and we didn't know what was happening still. And a lot of places were still in lockdown. And so kind of that somatic thing that Moss is talking about is in the sense of where, okay, thank your dishwasher for washing your dishes. Thank your washing machine for washing that. Thank your couch for whoever imagined it that you're sitting on. And like literally gratitude stacking, where you just start to look at all these things that you have that are supporting you in your space. And that's not even counting like pets and children and people and other things like that. But I had people sending me letters saying like, my God, this like really in a lot of ways kind of like saved me from losing my mind, because of the fact that when you can go into that gratitude stacking, you shift yourself into a positive frequency, because gratitude in and of itself is a very, very high vibe. And so from there, I mean, kind of the same thing. Like if you remember when the gasoline prices went insane, all of a sudden it was like $6.50 in California, where I am, where they have the highest taxes. And I realized that I could sit around and bitch and complain about how expensive the gasoline was, or I could shift the impression and saying like, wow, I am so thankful that I have a car that gives me the freedom to drive, because I was going to the Ritz-Carlton to take my mother out in Laguna for Mother's Day. And it was just like, I'm so grateful that I get to take my mother out to the Ritz-Carlton. I'm so grateful I get to have this beautiful, coastal, gorgeous trip in this car. I'm so grateful that I have the money to be able to afford it. And it's that kind of like little tiny tweaks that I think are really, really helpful, because they help you reshift where you are. And by reshifting where you are, then you realize like, oh my God, and then people can kind of breathe and they say, okay, yes, I'm in my place, I'm safe, I've got what I need. And then from there, pretty much I call it like almost Tarzan monkey roping too, where you just imagine yourself co-creating with the divine. If you remember that beautiful painting that's in Italy that has God touching the baby with Zeus, or it's like the image on the top of this, I think it's the Sistine Chapel. It's that co-creating with that and monkey roping it like Tarzan does. Tarzan is in the jungle because of the fact that he knows that every time he swings out, there's gonna be a branch there. Otherwise, he's gonna die, right? So just trusting that that next branch, that next rope is going to be there for you to swing off of it and do your little Tarzan, whatever you have to do to be able to get there, and then focus on the fact that you have what you need.
There's just one thing about gratitude, guys, that should really be watched out. Any definition, and that's why, if you start to become the observer on how you create your reality, you start to see what definitions of gratitude you've actually attached onto. Say, for example, that your parents sacrificed everything for you, and they go, you should be grateful for all the things that I did for you. You should do this. And it actually starts to become a chain around your neck. So when people start to use, like gratitude and those kind of definitions, again, be mindful of how you define gratitude. Okay? What Barbie said is really, really fantastic. But first you want to define how you want to define gratitude at its first principle level, not at the level that you experienced it. Again, most people have gratitude, or they should have gratitude towards something, and it literally is like, oh damn, now I owe that person something. So it creates a heaviness around people. So again, be mindful and define gratitude as, like Barbie was saying, is like, gosh, you know what, I get to live in physical space and time. I am here for a purpose. That should be your definition of gratitude. I am here for a purpose, that's why I'm living. And then every moment of, say, your life is in gratitude. In that definition, gratitude works out really well. But a lot of times, like I said, like somebody, Karen was here, is like gratitude with no obligation.
Yes.
Most people have put gratitude with an obligation. And again, it doesn't work out.
Totally agree.
Yeah, there's a lot that can go into it. And I actually love what you've been saying about perspective, because if one reality, such as anger, exists, and if you change the perspective, you can also see the love in that moment, because we come here to learn through duality often hot, cold, left, right, up, down. But there's always that center balancing point. There's warm and there's gray and there's center in the middle and all of those things. And I think it's one of the universal laws that we have through the law of polarity is if this reality exists, so does this reality. And if this one exists, so does this one. And when you find that center balancing point there, then really things start to, I love the word magic, magically shift and happen within the world, because you're at your center, you're at your balance, which might not be somebody else's balance there. So with that thought there, Masadi, what are your thoughts?
No, you're absolutely correct. Again, most people center themselves through a state of mind, or who they know, or what they know, or how much success they have. And again, it puts you off center. But what you want to do again is start to define who you are as a great being, a grand being of who you are, and then you move away from, say, the physicalness of this world, and you start to actually transfer your physical identity. You start to transport yourself into, say, that limitless identity of who you are, and that's where you get that spiritual, or what religious experiences are about. You literally start to expand, and it's like, oh my God, this is such a beautiful state to be in, and I'm actually experiencing it in physical form. And then the distortions, the inadequacies that you have in physical form, they actually start to minimize for you, and then you can handle, or you can find proper solutions to let go of that, the distortions or the problems in life. Otherwise, what happens, like most people, one problem goes to another, to another, to another, and they're never free of their problems. In this case, actually, you start to expand, and you start to become free of the physicalness of who you are, but then you can represent yourself in physical form with, again, less problems. And hence, that's where you start to become centered, because your higher self and your physical self start to center themselves, not separate themselves. And that's where that deeper connection, or what I call singularity, comes into play. That's true.
I was going to ask you, for the typical layman, a person like myself, who really, I really enjoy hearing this conversation of where I can be and what is possible. My question to you, Masadi, is it necessary? How do I get there? Do I get there through meditation? Do I get there only by working with somebody like you? How is it that I can even begin? Because let's say we've got a lot of entrepreneurs, people who are starting. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Each and every moment, we're offered opportunities to wake up, and that's really the key. But so what I'm saying, even like that simple experience of like spatial referencing, once you start to observe how you're seeing this reality, that's an opportunity for you, again, to throw out those filters, and then that's how you start to awaken. Now, like what Barbie does, what I do, we're just more experts at it. So instead of having, how like sometimes we go to our computer and it takes us hours to figure something out, and your kid comes along, it's like, oh, let me just do it, and it's in it takes like a minute. It's like, damn.
Yeah. You had to go there, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Barbie and I we're more of that nature. It's like, oh, this is what's going on. I mean, I can like I'd love to give you a session, Jim, some other time, but so I can pinpoint exactly what's going on with you and what's like holding you back, and the patterns that you're running, almost instantaneously. And then once you start to realize that, you go, shit, man, wow, that's amazing. And then even just realizing that, you start to see the truth. And then if you do nothing else, Jim, you start to resolve that pattern, because you are an amazing, say, solution finder. All of us are, not just you, Jim, but you actually have a special knack to find solutions, by the way. But what happens is that most people don't know what their problem is, or where their problem started. So, and that's really the key. So once you start to become an observer of your mind, not your mind. So most people, again, are in their mind, they're in their present, they're, mindful, but it doesn't allow us to observe us observing the mind. So if you want to do it on your own, start to observe, start to acknowledge your mental chatter. For some people, it's really great to note things down. The best use of a selfie on these phones is do a video journal for you. Wake up and video yourself and talk about whatever experience. It doesn't matter what you talk about. Take about a minute of your of yourself, and then after 3-4 days, go back and listen to it, and you literally will go, why did I say that? How did I say it? Why am I talking like that? It's really one of the easiest things that you can do. And it's far more advanced than you think, because you will log into your higher self and it's like, that's not really me. And then sometimes, a lot of times, people go, gosh, you know what? I see my mother in myself. And their mother treated them, this is just an example, horribly. It's like, gosh, that comes out, and you start to video journal. That's another way you can do it on your own. It's amazing what you can do on your own. But again, Barbie and I, we just do it much faster, easier. We have like hyper meditations that I do that can help you transform in the 18 days. It goes really, really intense, by the way. So that's a good start for you as well.
All right, perfect. And we're coming up here to our time. So Barbie, 1 minute or less, last closing thoughts.
I just wanted to, what you were talking about before about that neutrality, is the fact that that's really in quantum physics what they talk about with the 0 point gravity. So when you are literally in a suspended quantum portal or a chi ball or whatever they want to call it, prana from ancient times, being in the center of it where you're bouncing around inside of a sphere, you're not touching anything. And so therefore, as a result, you're accessing all of the electricity and all of the energy, frequency, and vibration that is available to you. And a lot of times for a lot of people getting into the space, they need to discover what their core wound is. That's what Moss is talking about, the programming. That's the original one that you generally got within the first 7 years of your life.
Yep.
And ultimately, like being able to clear that, it's almost like taking a computer virus out of your life. And then from there, you're no longer triggered to that any longer, because we have hooks and different things that are part of us that when that's no longer there, when that pattern has been completed, nobody can hook into you on that any longer. If you have fear of rejection or acceptance or other things like that, once that's gone, you literally become almost unstoppable. So that's the kind of work in regards to, as he said, working one-on-one. There's really no substitute for that, but doing group type of things too. And then also just from a perspective of what he was talking about with videos, I do that with selfies, in the sense of we're taking a selfie journey to see, what did my face look like? What was my energy emanation? What did I look like? But what did I feel like on the inside? And if you're trying to find out where the inside and the outside match, when they match, you're congruent. And from there, you can attract everything magnetically that you want to. So that would be what I would add. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to be with you guys here. Just this week has been absolutely riveting and amazing. And I appreciate all of you guys. And thank you.
All right, thank you, Varvi. And Masadi, last closing thoughts, minute or less.
The world of frequencies actually is where it's at right now. Billions and billions are being poured through healing, transforming. Again, more and more science or universities are reaching out to me on studying my abilities. So it's out there. It's real. It's just like Bitcoin. Nobody believed in it, but now it's a major player. So you want to get into the world of frequencies. That's where the new world paradigm, that's where the new business paradigm is. And one thing that, Jim, you were talking about earlier is, the facial cues and so on that AI can pick up. But time and time and again, people who, they've got avatars. In fact, I've got an avatar, that does, YouTube videos for me and so on. But the one thing that they get is like, there's an emptiness behind that avatar. Because what we're seeing is just like the five cues, physical cues, light, sound, and so on like that people pick up on. But what's missing on that avatar, and what's missing in most people, is that emptiness behind the five senses. And that's where, persuasion and everything else come into play. So you want to be complete at on the back end frequencies for you. And as you do that, you become a whole person. And then when people see you, you are, say, of completeness. And that's what your trajectory is. No matter what you're here for, no matter what you think you're here for, you're actually here for to understand who you are at a very, very deep level. The only way you can do that is to clean all your stuff out that you've had, like generational patterns, distortions. We need to clean all that stuff out so we can move forward and start a brand new day. And that's what's happening in the world, guys. Today, right now, is the most beautiful time to be alive because the universe is on our side. It's a time of awakening. So.
Thank you so much, Masadi, and even Barbie, who had to leave, for your insight. I always love these discussions. And Jim, and thank you for your curiosity. I'm going to leave it at that. And Alicia, I think we're going to take a quick commercial break. Is that right?
Yes, we are. Just Mazadi wanted to say thank you so much for joining. And Barbie, these are really interesting discussions. And Mazadi, I loved how you shared kind of where things are going, how universities are getting curious as to what's going on, and how there's a lot of money and investment going into the work that you're doing, because we're all frequency. We had Theron Feemster earlier talking about how he's using music and frequencies to heal, and so it is a really, really interesting conversation. And to those of you who maybe this is a conversation or work you're hearing about for the first time, we get curious, learn about it, and this is what it's all about. It's about sharing what is going on in the world, sharing what leaders are doing. And, I love that Mazadi, you and Barbie, you work with the world's leaders. You work with these top CEOs. Barbie was mentioning that working with the leaders that have 100,000 people that are part of their organization, their energy feeds into the energy of their organization. And so if their energy is aligned or cleared, or the blockages that they are feeling within are cleared, then they have that much more impact within their organizations, but also how they show up, engage, and ultimately contribute to the world. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
And I also wanted to come and be present for that. Thank you for, because we really appreciate you coming to the Los Angeles Tribune, Masadi. It always gives us this, strong energy, reverberating through the earth and through the planet, with all of our global audience watching. So thank you. And thank you to Faye. Love Faye so much. And with that, we are going to tee up a video with Mark Victor Hansen and Mo Rock, our CEO, just speaking very, very quickly for less than 2 minutes, and then we'll have Larry Holmes coming right back.
For aspiring authors. I love it. Absolutely. That's a Los Angeles Tribune best-selling book. So for aspiring authors, Mark and Crystal, or for individuals that are looking to get their book recognized, what is the significance of being a Los Angeles Tribune best-selling author?
Well, there's only 2 lists left. It breaks my heart because the industry has been so good to me for 50 years. But USA Today is their book list, which I had 15 of the top 50 books at one time. And Maya Angelou, who you mentioned earlier, said, "Boy, you're hogging the list." I said, "No, we just sell more books than anybody alive." So they're gone. And then Wall Street Journal is gone. So you're number 2 after New York Times. And I predict, as I have to you personally, Mo, because you and I are dear, great friends, that you will become the number 1 book list in the world, because you're playing literally a world game. And we're just so thankful and touched that we made it to the top of your list.
Thank you, Mark. Love you. I appreciate you. Ms. Crystal, please.
No, what an honor. I mean, Mark's right. I just say ditto to everything he just said, because sadly, all of these important lists are disappearing. And the lists are important because people are looking for that recommendation. They're looking for the books that people are really loving, that are really, changing lives, impacting lives, or just even entertaining people, that are just really good writing. So I am so thankful for this list, Mo, because I think Mark is spot on. You guys you are becoming the most, New York Times and you. I mean, it's all gone away, Wall Street Journal, everything. So congratulations to you for really making that a priority, because reading literature, books are so important. Books change the world.
And we're back. Excited. I have Dame Doria on the phone. But I am so excited that we're teeing up Larry Holmes after this commercial. Parisa, let me ask first, before we put the commercial on, how excited are you, Parisa?
I've been waiting for this one all week. That's how excited I am. I'm pumped. I mean, I don't know if anyone else is excited. If you're excited, put a 1 in the chat, please. Please.
Yes,
I want to know.
absolutely. And we wanted to invite, our audience, who's all about leadership, wanting to also bring their loved ones and their friends and their family into leadership and self-awareness and everything that you're learning here, to invite people who are fans of boxing, because who's coming right up is Sir Kaya Redford and Larry Holmes. So with that, Jim Miller, how excited are you?
Well,
You've got a lot of ones.
I'm very excited. Being a big boxing fan, I remember my father was a boxer. My grandfather was a boxer, and so back in the day, that's all we had was boxing, and it was real. And there were a lot of heroes. A lot of my heroes were boxers, especially the whole journey of Muhammad Ali from Cassius Clay, and then onto the next generation of guys. So I'm very excited. It's a great sport. I love it.
Absolutely. And how excited are you even more, Jim, that you're actually seeing the other side of boxers? Not just the tough boxers, but what they're doing in the world to make a difference, to make such an impact, the people that they're serving, the difference that they're making. So your thoughts about that, Jim, and then we'll have Alicia's, give her thoughts.
Well, these guys have been thrust onto international platforms, so they understand the relevance of their voice and how it affects humanity. So they have one or two choices: to either go dark with it or bring the light. And thank goodness Larry Holmes and others like him are bringing a conversation that's very believable, because they've been to places that we haven't been.
For sure. Thank you for that, Jim. Alicia, what are your thoughts?
I'm so excited to hear from Larry Holmes in a conversation led by Sir Kaya. I mean, the mindset, the discipline, the self-reliance, the trust, the intuition, all that goes into boxing and showing up. And like Jim said, on the global stage, the international stage, I already feel that there's so many gems that are going to be shared. It's going to be a conversation about boxing, but truly about life, because all of those principles, all of those facets apply to our everyday lives. So I'm really thrilled. I think it's going to be a really, really good, engaging discussion. Can't wait.
I love it. So before we get into this segment of Larry Holmes in conversation with Sir Kaya Redford, we're going to bring a friend of the Los Angeles Tribune who's making a difference in relieving pain throughout the world. We'll be right back.
Millions of people deal with back pain every single day, making it hard to sit down sometimes, walk upstairs, or even do simple chores. What if you could erase the pain? Introducing Doctor's Touch Erase the Pain, made with 100% all-natural ingredients, designed to target, synthesize, and erase the pain. So would you rather feel like this or like that? Like this? Oh, come on, like that. If you want to stay in the game, erase the pain. Available at www.doctorstouch.com.
Again, the Los Angeles Tribune newspaper, one of the oldest newspapers in our history, changing the status quo of the narrative in the world. We are the newspaper that is focused on not only sharing what gets to change in the world, but bringing solutions. So I want to give a huge shout out to our CEO, Mo Rock, and our editor-in-chief, Ava, and my buddy, my brother from another mother, Pete Rivera. We've had an incredible experience the last few days in interviewing some of the top legends. And today we have the greatest of the greatest. So I just want to open up floor for you, Pete, to share anything you want to share before we go into a proper introduction. I'll be sharing the amazingness of this amazing leader, a champion in the ring, a champion out of the ring, and all the great philanthropy projects and things that he's doing today to make a world a better place. So Pete, how are you doing today, brother?
I'm doing well, my good brother. Thank you for having me. For all of you out there, we are a humanitarian organization. We are championing for change. We corral all the champions in the ring for Champion for Change out of the ring so that they do their due diligence and giving back to humanity however they can to push humanity forward, youth forward, give everybody inspiration and hope, and to choose love over hate, right? to do good deeds in this world. So if we're not in this world to do good in this world, what are we here for? And so your life's purpose is yoked in the same essence of, doing good and pushing humanity forward. And that having been said, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to talk a little bit about the man you're looking at on screen, which is Kaya Redford. He has a gift to humanity. I love this man. He's my new brother from another mother. You can't really tell that we're twins, but we're separated at birth by about 10 years. And this gentleman is a real gift to humanity, someone who learns how to seek those around with the white light, with the burning desire within them to do good in this world, to really create value and to really push, whether it's an organization through a CEO coaching or whether it's through his philanthropy or humanitarian work. He's always finding a way to give value to everyone humanly possible. This man optimizes ROIs and goodness, and he is our new Captain America for good. So that having been said, I want everybody here to understand and appreciate the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Kaya Redford. So Kaya, please do bring in our wonderful, amazing champion for change, the next great, and I'll let you bring in his name and do the whole proper intro.
You know what? They say there's, Muhammad Ali was definitely talked about throughout his career when he was here, when even after he's gone, is the greatest of all time. And yet there's a person that actually has been the greatest heavyweight boxer of all time in the amount of time that he was heavyweight champion. And this person needs no introduction the world over. This is Larry Holmes, often considered one of the greatest heavyweight champions of all time. Holmes' left jab is often rated as one of the best in heavyweight boxing history. I would say the best in heavyweight boxing history. In addition to holding a WBC heavyweight title from 1978 to 1983. That's a long time in heavyweight history, 5 years right there. Holmes held the Ring Magazine and Lineal heavyweight titles from 1980 to 1985, and the inaugural IBF heavyweight title from 1983 to 1983 to 1985. Holmes won his first 48 professional bouts, including various fights over Ken Norton, the man he defeated in 1978 with the WBC championship, Muhammad Ali, Ernie Shavers, Mike Weaver, Gary Cooney, Tim Witherspoon, Carl Williams, Marvis Frazier. Holmes fell one short of matching Rocky Marciano's career record of 49-0, which is unbelievable, when he lost to Michael Spinks in 1985. He also had fights with Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Oliver McCall. And this is a legend that needs no introduction the world over. And I'm bringing him to the stage with a Los Angeles Tribune newspaper, Larry, and his amazing, incredible wife, Diane, here joining us from Eastern Pennsylvania. And how you doing today, Larry?
Well, today is better than no days, so I'm happy. Happy I got my family with me, and the kids are playing in the yard, and my wife is getting ready to cook dinner. Hey, listen, I got it made.
You got it made. You're a truly blessed man, and we are truly blessed to have you on our show. I know so many people. I've got so many messages from everybody like, oh my God, you're going to interview Larry. I want to meet him. They either have your autograph or they've met you before at some place in some fashion. So what we're here to do, we're here to unlock the success secrets of the world's top leaders. And you are the world's top leader, right? You are in that class, not only in boxing, but inside the ring and outside the ring. If you don't mind sharing, Larry, what was some adversity, a turning point, or a quantum leap moment in your life that put you on the path to becoming one of the greatest heavyweight champions of all time?
Well, I just didn't want to be just another fighter. I wanted to be recognized. I wanted to have something to show for what I've done, and I knew I had to work hard to get that. And I worked hard and I got it. I got a beautiful wife and beautiful kids, and we got it made, man. What else you gonna ask for?
That's absolutely perfect. You just didn't want to be another fighter. So what was that first moment of inspiration? What was the first idea that you A, want to be a boxer, and B, that you could actually be one of the greatest heavyweights of all time?
Well, what made me want to be boxing is that I was hungry. We had money and stuff, and people were talking about boxing at that time, and I figured I could fit in there. And then I got started, and I tried to fit in, and a lot of people told me I couldn't fit in, so I wanted to prove them wrong.
Mm.
Fit right in, and I became a champion, and I worked hard for it as I got it.
And so that you're famous for one of the greatest jabs in heavyweight history. Was that just that came to you naturally? You had to work hard for it. What was the how did you come across, or how did you develop that jab that's so famous in boxing history?
Well, you wanted the jab to come out fast, and you got to be kind of like watching what you're doing while you're doing it. And I was watching what I was doing. I was learning it from guys like Muhammad Ali, guys like Joe Frazier. You know, I watched my jab, and I worked it every day. You know, I wanted to have the fastest jab, a good hard jab, and I wanted to be a heavyweight champion of the world, and I had to have all these things to be that.
And what was it like for you to fight Muhammad Ali? We just had Dr. Khalila Ali on our show yesterday, and she shared what it meant for her, to have that rich legacy of you and fighting Muhammad Ali. What was that like for you, entering the ring, knowing that you were going to be fighting a legend, yourself a legend, and another great legend in American history?
Tell you the truth, when I was climbing in the ring, I took it for granted because I had been working with Muhammad for all them years as a sparring partner. Ali, I wanted to see what these fastest people say he were and can take it as they say he can, and he's the greatest. And I wanted to be that, all of that. I wanted to be able to take his punches. I wanted people to say I'm a great guy, and I just wanted to fight and win and make money and bring home. And that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I ended up doing.
And I know millions of people are watching, are boxing fans. I know Pete is a former boxer, so he's going to ask a different set of questions. I'm going to give the floor to you, Pete.
Well, thank you so much. I want to tell you, Kaya, Champ, I'm enjoying your book. Your book is inspirational. I'm humbled by your journey and your story, and I cannot wait for the entire world to know your book and your story. And whether it's a book, whether it's television shows, whether it's reality shows, whether it's a film, a movie, your story is going to be inspirational to all. And so I just wanted to share with you, Kaya, that this man came from the cotton fields, his family in Georgia. Then they went all the way up to what I'm discovering and learning about this wonderful human being. All boxing aside, the story of the American triumph is what Larry Holmes embodies. And it truly can inspire every American that you can become anything you set your mind out to, because they left the cotton fields of Georgia, went all the way up to Easton, Pennsylvania for the steel mills and the steel working. His father was working really hard in the steel mill, and he looked at all of it and he saw strife and poverty and coming from actual nothing, where it was a very rudimentary, rustic living, and he wanted more for himself. And out of those humble beginnings, he's the phoenix that rose from the ashes and became the great heavyweight champion that he is today, from those humble, modest beginnings of seeing strife and real hunger and being the youngest of the family. And I will just say that your story is inspirational. Cannot wait to tell your story in front of the whole world even more. And everybody should know the Easton Assassin's book, the Easton Assassin. It's a phenomenal book, phenomenal story. And we are looking forward to bringing your story to life on the big screen with everyone here on the phone. And that having been said, Diane, you guys have a wonderful charity. It's called Heart of a Legend. Can you tell us a little bit about your charity and how you do humanitarian work, giving back to humanity?
Well, it started a few years ago. We were trying to raise money to build a statue of Larry here in Easton. And that's where the idea came. My girlfriend and I got together, and we put a board together, and we came up with Heart of a Legend, because we have our legend. who's got a heart, and that's how we got our name. And we raise money to help not only the city, to beautify the city and everything else, but we try to keep kids off the street. We give to our main found that we give to is diabetes, because our legend has diabetes. We give to we just a whole lot of different things that we do, and we try to put it out there so that people can come and join and have a good time.
Well, I'll tell you what, one of the things that they did was love me. Everything was done with love.
Yeah.
And they penetrated and did that, and that's what made them go.
And we still going. We're not going to stop. We put the statue up. There's a beautiful statue here in Easton of Larry Holmes. We raised money, and we just continue to keep going and try to help as much as we give back as much as we possibly can, because that's what it's all about. You got to help one another.
All of you viewers out there, you've got to visit the statue. It's got a wonderful backdrop of waterfalls behind it with a beautiful river, beautiful surreal scene. You hear the birds chirping, this beautiful, wonderful, amazing statue of the champ. You can get your picture taken with it. It's a real big statue. It's got wonderful messages on the front, back, and sides, and real humanitarian work, a pillar of strength for that community. And you have to go visit the Larry Holmes statue in Easton, Pennsylvania, folks. Go ahead, Kai.
I tell you something. When you go down there, watch out for the pigeons.
Yes.
Well, what are the pigeons going to do when you go down there?
They drop.
They drop on you. Okay. It won't be the first time I got pooped on by a pigeon. Yeah. But I need that Easton assassin hat right there, and that will just take care of all that. So Champ and Diane, I know that you're a big philanthropist. We're going to talk about your golf tournament and how people can get tickets and come support, the Heart of a Legend Foundation. Just before we get into that, the whole principle of what we're here to do with the LA Tribune, it's about changing the status quo of the news. The news media is always focusing on the problems of the world. And what we want to do is we want to bring solutions. We're here for uplifting, educating, empowering humanity. When you look at the world today, Champ, and you look at the world back, 30, 40 years ago, how has the world changed in front of your eyes? And what do you want to see different in this world?
Well, what I see, the world is mixed up. Sometimes they want you to be great, and the next time they want you not to be great, and they want you to do, and then they don't. Then they want you not to do. So you got to play the ball game with them, because life is life, and people are always you're gonna have get overs, and you're gonna have fighters, and champions, and great fighters like Muhammad Ali. He was a great champion. He did a lot of stuff for people, and a lot of people praised him for it. And then he did a lot of stuff that he didn't want to do for people. And
what would be the things that he didn't want to do for people that you're referring to?
Well, start like when you're getting ready to get in the ring, and somebody come up to you and say he gonna kick you, or what you call it,
right?
That makes you mad,
right?
You can't fight. You ain't no good. You don't know how to fight. And when you do that and prove yourself, you'll be all right. That's what I had to do. I improved myself. 1972, I started boxing in the Olympics and stuff like that. And people didn't think I could make it, because I couldn't fight Dwayne Bobby, because he was a strong guy that came out and fought, and I never forget him. And I thought he fought a good guy, fought a good that night, but they didn't want to give me any credit for it. So I had to stay in there and learn how to fight and fight forever. And that's what I did with Dwayne Bobby. And when I won the title, it was a miracle. Then people say you ain't gonna do it. You can't fight. And that's what I had to do, show them how to fight.
How to fight. What would you say was perhaps the most difficult challenge you ever faced in the ring? Whether it was a person, or whether it was a moment, or whether it was, what was the biggest? Ken Norton?
Ken Norton, June 9th, 1978. He was not only tough, he didn't like me. So, I had to fight, and it was okay because I won and we remain friends.
Mm.
And can't take it away from the guy. He was a tough Marine, and he's a tough guy fought. And I loved him for it.
And what would you say is something about you that the world doesn't know? Something that you'd want the world to know about you that maybe the world doesn't know, or something you want to share that the world doesn't know?
I'm a nice guy.
You are a nice guy.
I'm a nice guy, If my wife finished cooking my dinner, I'm going, no.
If and when she, yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
And
But
did
no,
you feel like you had to not be a nice guy to be effective with what you did, or do you feel like?
No, I just be myself, and that's what I was. I was myself. I was a nice guy. I was a bad guy. I was a mean guy. I was a guy that tried to understand everything, and I was a guy that didn't want to understand everything. And then I got a chance to deal with guys like Don King. I got to deal with guys like Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier. I got a chance to deal with all them great fighters, great people ahead of me to put me into this game. I learned a lot from Don King, a hell of a lot.
What would be the biggest thing you learned from Don King? Because I know the whole world wants to know the answer to that question.
Don King likes to have his way.
He likes to have his way.
As long as he have his way, he's okay. And that's what I can say about him. Because you know what? People say, don't you want to talk about how bad he did you? Well, if he did me bad, he did everybody else bad. Because I was his pride. I was the guy that he could call in the morning and I can get up and go get in shape and come out and fight. I could do that. And that's the way Don King was. I can call him right now and say, hey, man, I need $10, $20, $100. He might holler at me, but he'll give it to me.
Right.
And that's the kind of guy Don King was.
What piece of advice would you give the new generation growing up, the next leaders in this world, whether it's in boxing or outside of boxing? What piece of advice would you give?
Well, I think they got to take it easy like I did. Take it slow. Take one step at a time. Everything ain't going to come out overnight. You're going to have to wait for it. And you have to fight for it. And you won't have to win it. And that's what I had to do. I had to fight for it. I had to, and even now, here I am, 70 years old. I still got to work for what I got to
Absolutely.
do. And nobody gonna give me nothing. Nobody gonna give me nothing.
I remember seeing an interview with you where you were sharing about your experience fighting Mike Tyson, and I remember you saying like, I'm gonna get him. You felt you were gonna get him. What is your thoughts about what Mike's doing today? He's getting back in the ring. I know he's going to make a lot of money. He seems to be in great shape. Do you have any opinion on him in the ring and what he's up to?
Okay, he's a good guy. He's a good guy in the ring, and a good guy out of the ring. It all depends what move it catches. Yeah, and Mike Tyson don't have the best moves, so you have to watch what you say, what you do. Be his friend, not his enemy, and that's what I do. Every time I see him, he hugs me, give me a kiss and everything. And Mike Tyson,
And I know Pete has a couple questions. I just want to ask you one last question and then hand it over to you, Pete. Dr. Khalila Ali, a former wife of Muhammad Ali, yesterday said we were having an interview with Riddick Bowe and Ray Mercer and a bunch of people. And Riddick was saying, when I asked him what was his secret, what was his inspiration, he said Muhammad Ali. And he spoke so highly of Muhammad Ali. And Dr. Khalila said that meant the world to her. She said when Black men are supporting and looking up to other Black men, she says there's nothing higher or better than that. For you, when you look at your legacy and you look at the sport of boxing, what are you most proud of?
My success, because I didn't have any. I was a drop out of school, and people were saying that you're not going to make it. You ain't going to do nothing. You can't do this, and you ain't going to win no title. You ain't going to be nothing. I said, okay. At least I say one thing about it, I tried. And as long as I gave it my best, that's all I needed. I didn't need nothing else.
Amen. And Larry, Champ, the Easton Assassin, who were some of your heroes growing up, your idols? Was it Dr. Martin Luther King? Was it, Malcolm X? Who were some of the people that you looked up to? Obviously your father, I would imagine, but who were some other people that you looked up to?
Yeah, well, you know what? People do look for other champions, role models. But, I looked at what I was doing and what I had to do to get to be where I'm at. I was very happy that we had a guy like Archie Moore and Joe Louis and Martin Luther King and Muhammad Ali. I'm happy, and Jack Johnson. They made me, because I seen how hard they worked to get to be where they're at, to get to be champions, and respected champions. Not going out, they win the title and then they want to go out and knock somebody out. No, that ain't the way you do it. And I figure if I can keep doing that, keep my nose clean, hey, my wife will be proud of me, my kids will be proud of me, my mom will be proud, my dad, everybody will be proud of me. But, shit happens.
Well, not only does stuff happen, but it's one thing for all of us to be proud of you. It's another thing for you to really inspire the entire next generation of youth. And so I am looking forward to your story being that source of strength and inspiration for the entire next generation, and us to revitalize and make relevant your story in today's era, in today's youth, which need your strength and your moral compass and your integral decency now more so than ever. That having been said, what's next for you coming up? You guys have a golf tournament coming up. How can we all support you in that wonderful event you guys have coming up?
Yeah, my wife puts that together, by herself mainly, because I do very little with it. She's good at it, and people respect her, and then they respect me because that's my wife. And I'm not going to put my wife out there on the field when she can't handle it. And she does a great job. So I'm lucky to have her. And, it's mind-boggling how things and times go by. They go by kind of fast. You start in the morning, and then you wake up, it's night.
Diane, can you tell us a little bit about the tournament, the events, and how the youth can get connected to show up and maybe get autographs and meet the champions?
Okay, so it's July 21st and 22nd. We do a meet and greet on the 21st at the golf course, which is Green Pond here in Easton, Pennsylvania. It's $65 a person. Come down. Even if you don't have the money, we don't turn anybody away. If a kid comes walking up and we don't have it, and listen, we're not going to turn anybody away. Just come. We like to give to everybody. And you come, you can get autographs from the celebrities that we bring in, and you have a good time. And then the next day we golf. Okay, now we're not asking you to come, the kids to come to the golf tournament because the celebrities are out there golfing. But if somebody happens to come and we have extra seats left, we let them sit in and have a meal with us. So we don't turn anybody away. We just try to give as much as we possibly can, because that's what it's all about. We're trying to help everybody.
Well, I'm getting a ticket. I'm going to be there. You and I already spoke about that. We're going to send this out to millions of people worldwide, are actually tuning in right now. So that is www.heartofalegend.org.
Yes.
So please, we'll have our team put it in the chat, www.heartofalegend.org. And again, the dates are July 21st, 22nd, East Pennsylvania, right? Or Pennsylvania, celebrity golf tournament. And I know you have attendees. Do you want to share maybe who are some of the attendees that you already know that are confirmed?
We've got O.J. Anderson. We've got Stephen Baker from the Giants. They both played for the Giants. We have Ray Mercer. We've got, Ed Payton is coming. Walter Payton's brother. He's coming. We have Bill Clancy.
I love Bill. Yes.
Yes, we've got a lot of good celebrities coming in. Fred Baxter. I believe he played for the Giants as well. We have some baseball
and Larry
players.
Holmes.
Of course,
Larry Holmes.
Of course, we have our. Yeah.
So Diane, for you, just being all the work that both you do together, anything you want to share with the world, anything that you want to get off out of your heart to the world, in what the work that both you do.
I wish everybody could just get along. The world has changed so much. There's a lot of fighting going on for no reason at all. And all this has got to stop. Government has to stop to coming into everything and trying to take over everybody's lives. The government can't do that. They shouldn't do that, I should say. They shouldn't try to take over everything. Help one another. And I think it would take us a long way.
Well, when I ran for president, I changed the whole thing around.
Exactly. Yeah, you got my vote, champ. He's
running away from it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So it's not just the government, it's the media just feeding that negative narrative.
Exactly.
And so, we're so proud that the Los Angeles Tribune is partnering up with Pete. This whole event with all the heavyweight champs and all it was put together by Pete. So we're so grateful for you, Pete, the great work you're doing in West Africa, the philanthropy, the projects. So we're now even stronger together, right? So now we have a very powerful newspaper, and we're taking projects with us all around the world for worldwide distribution. So we're super excited, and we're so we're anticipating, Larry, for your story to be told, your book to be told, your movie to be told, and for it to be as successful, to change the lives of as many people as possible. So we're going to champion that. You'll see me in Pennsylvania. I'll be there. Don't expect me to look good at playing golf, because I suck. I don't really play golf, but I'll be there. And I would never want to be any other place.
And one more thing I want to say.
Yes.
I'm doing another book. I got a guy who wants to do it, so I'm going to let him do it.
And what's the second book? What's the second book? What's the inspiration of the second book? You don't have to give us the title, but what's the inspiration behind the second book, Larry?
We don't know exactly what they're going to name it yet, but we're going to do it.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Well, Kaya, when you come to Pennsylvania, you and I can be on the same team. We can make each other look not so bad.
Not so bad, yes.
We're going to have fun playing golf.
We'll put a good celebrity on your team.
Clue man there.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So we've asked everybody. I know this is kind of a cheesy question, but we've asked everybody what do you believe will be the outcome of the Tyson fight that he has with Jake Paul. I know it's a silly question.
Jake Paul.
Tyson's gonna knock him out.
It's gonna knock him out. Okay, boom. And will it be quick?
I say 2-3 rounds.
2-3 rounds. Boom. Yeah. Yes. I guess my last question for you, Larry, is what's something that you haven't accomplished yet? Is there anything left on your bucket list? You've done everything you could possibly do under the sun. Is there anything you haven't done that you want to do that's left to be done in your legacy?
My wife provided me with everything that I need. So I thank her for that. And God, I thank him for all the strength that he's given me and my family, so we can do what we got to do, and bless us.
That's amazing. So let's go again. For those of you here tuning today, go to www.heartofalegend.org. July 21st, 22nd. Just block out that. I believe that's a weekend, right?
Yes.
And your calendar. Let's make it happen. Let's share this link, that website, with other people. Pete, back to you. Anything else? Final thoughts, questions you want to share?
June 1st, guys. What are the actual dates of the entire golf tournament? One more time.
July 21st and 22nd.
July 21st, July 22nd. Guys, everybody out there, you've got to come meet these champions. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity that they're opening themselves up to be approached so that you can have meaningful engagement and get signatures, get pictures, enjoy life together around love and light. And, you know, these champions, they're precious. They are historical people that have written the books of history to get to where we are today. And so all I can say to everybody out there in the entire universe, come, experience it, meet the champions, meet the Eastern Assassin before his movie comes out. Then when this movie comes out, you can say, I met the champion. I'm going to go see his movie.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say.
Yeah, I will be there for them, thick and thin. So don't worry about me. It ain't the end.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes.
He'll be shaking babies and kissing hands.
Last quick question. So where do we get that Eastern Assassin hat? Is that available online too?
Now,
You know, my wife
my
bought
son,
this.
our son gave it to him for Christmas.
Yeah, my son
And how did that nickname? How did you get that nickname?
I don't know. When I first started in the amateur, they called me Eastern Assassin, but I'm from
Boom.
Eastern.
Yes.
I don't know who.
Are those your grandkids?
Yes.
Yeah, these are
Oh my gosh! Say hi to the grandkids. How many grandkids do you have, Larry?
Come here,
Here,
guys.
guys.
Come here. I've got two bambinos. They're a little older. One's 25 and one's 24.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Ours
shit.
are
And they remind me that they're taller than me because one is 6'3" and one's 6'2", and I'm only 5'10".
Yeah.
Here we go. Here's Cade. This
What's
is
up,
Cade.
guys?
And this is good. This is
What's
Lauren.
good? Yeah, I say what's up, but what's good? You guys so handsome. What jerseys are they wearing?
Cade has they're big football fans.
Football fans. Fantastic.
Lawrence plays golf and he runs track. And Cade does football, he does baseball, he does
not anymore.
Not anymore. Because it's
Baseball,
over. They do it all.
Baseball,
And they're 8. They're only 8.
So Larry, in one or two words, what would you like if after it's all said and done, what do you want to be remembered for? In one sentence.
That I was okay. I'm an okay guy. I treat people like, I want to be treated. And I thank God for what He's given me, wife and family, brothers and sisters.
You're a beautiful man, Larry. I just yesterday saw a video of after your fight with Muhammad Ali and the tears, and I heard a few words that you shared, and it was, you've always been this beautiful man. And so want to commend you on, the heart of a legend, that having that huge heart. And I think we all feel that today. And again, we're looking forward to supporting your charities. Thank you so much for coming to the Los Angeles Tribune newspaper with a worldwide audience. Shout out again to our CEO, Mo Rock, for creating this great movement, our editor-in-chief, Ava Manuel. Thank you so much, Pete, for all that you're doing to bring in and share the stories of inspiration, for everybody at home to be able to step into their greatness. Champ, we look forward to seeing you in a few weeks in July, and continue to make a difference together in the world. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you, Diane.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune. Since 1886, our name has been a part of the world of journalism. We have earned a reputation for being a publication that practices integrity, authenticity, and responsibility. For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
And And we're back. Thank you so much for all of the comments and engagements in the chat. We've got our community all just like really appreciating that. Alicia, tell us, what really resonated with you and what touched you? Because I could see your face in the green room and all how you light up as we watch them, behind the scenes. Alicia, you're muted, I think.
Muted. I think it was just the warmth of Larry Holmes and Mrs. Holmes. Like, you can tell that they're so caring and they have warm hearts, and we felt that. And so it was such a beautiful conversation led by Kaya. And he really shared the realness about the experience and how his wife was there with him. So I think it was a phenomenal conversation about strength, endurance, passion. But it truly was, I think you mentioned it earlier, being able to see the person behind who you think and who you see. And for me, that they just light up a room. And it was very, very cute to see their grandkids with them as well. Parisa, what did you think of that conversation?
Okay. First of all, I so agree with you. Like, the love is so felt, and you can tell the love that's felt in a home by the genuine reactions of younger children. And you saw those kids run by. And so, like, the love that you could feel them communicate and just like their essence of who they were and who they are, it was just confirmed with those kids. And, all week with many of these segments, I've said that it's really great to be able to experience the person from the persona that we've all been shown and grown to love and just been rooting on all these years and decades for some of them. And this one is like the heart of the person from the persona that we've known for decades. Like, this one, I was genuinely looking forward to this. And
your dad was too.
My dad was too. And he's listening right now as well. Hi, Dad.
It's amazing to see our boxing fans just like really reach out and say, where's the stream, where is it showing? That's really exciting. But would love to bring back the man of the hour, the man who made all of this possible, bringing the boxing legends to LA Leadership Week, Sir Kaya Redford.
Hello, Kaya.
What's up?
Now this deserves a highlight. So we're gonna highlight you, and we're just gonna ask you, what is it like? What's your experience? What does it mean to you, and how does it touch your heart? To be interviewing these boxing legends and seeing the other side of them. And people in our chat, our global auditorium, give Sir Kaya Redford some love. I would love some, appreciation, for his interviews. You've got some really great comments. If you haven't been looking at the chat while you're interviewing, they're saying like you're such a great interviewer. So we just want to appreciate you and give you the full floor right now, Kaya. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I was receiving some messages from on Facebook. So I want to give a shout out to Paul Driscoll. He was sending me pictures of memorabilia and Larry's autographs and stuff. And I don't really know what to say other than there's a movement happening. There's a special thing happening. I feel like the LA Tribune has changed my life. We all have a message. I have a message I want to share with the world. I want to learn and become the better version of myself. To the idea of being able to have a platform, us as a team, Ava, Alicia, Parisa, Mo, Rex, Jim, everyone else, to have a platform to bring the best of the best in the world to one platform, to one place. I'm just so proud of this company, this brand, the newspaper, everybody that's behind this. I feel like we are only just beginning. I feel like these are just little baby steps. We'll be having events with the Oprahs and the Musks of the world. That's what's coming. And it's because we're doing things in a different way. We are having a different type of conversation. So I feel like my life is changing. I feel changed. I'm deeply, deeply grateful to Mo for giving me the opportunity. There was a video at the December event, the gala, where he said, you know, Kai is amazing. Kai could take a show and go do his thing anywhere, and he chose us. I feel the reciprocal feeling. I feel lucky and blessed to be working with the Los Angeles Tribune, to have this team, and I don't know. I mean, I'm a loss for words. I'm looking forward to having a interview with Vander Holyfield, with Mike Tyson, and then you know, maybe what's the breakthrough for me is hearing Alicia share what she's sharing, Parisa share what you're sharing. You know, like, we do these interviews, but yet when you're in it, it's kind of hard to really see the outside perspective. And so when someone really is able to consume it and experience it, and then from there share what it's meaning to them, that's when we really know the impacts, when we hear from other people. So the human side, I find that a lot of interviewing is all about the sensational stuff. You know, it's all about edginess, focuses on being edgy and getting people's attention. Don't get me wrong, it's important. We need to get people's attention. But I feel like what we're doing is we have a different come from. We want to make the world a better place. There is no media in the world. There's no newspaper, no media that exists anywhere in the world. And if it does, please show me. Please take me to that page right now that is wanting to make the world a better place. And so that's what's different, what's happening here. And whether you believe in, you know, the universe, whether you believe in God or love, and we're not here preaching religion at all, but whatever your belief is, I heard Tony Robbins quote, and I don't know if it's attributed to him or who said it before him, but he says, life supports what supports life. Life supports what supports life. The LA Tribune is here supporting life for people. Right now, we're raising funds for a hospital in Uganda. We're raising funds. We're taking these heavyweight champions, raising funds to build infrastructure in Africa, where Pete said, he said, a homeless person here is like a millionaire, because you actually have cement you can walk on, right? You have light, you have amenities, you have access to things as a homeless person here that you don't in these countries. So we're making a difference. We're improving life for people. And so there's a movement, and I can't even put it into words. Can't put it into words. So I feel like my life is changing. I feel inspired beyond belief. And I am excited like a little kid, because I believe that we are taking the little baby steps. Even though the LA Tribune has been around since 1886, I feel like it's in a rebirth, and it is taking these little baby steps to becoming exactly what we've been talking about, which is changing the status quo of what media is to the world. And so thank you to Mo Rock, our CEO. Thank you to Ava. Thank you to Alicia. Thank you to Parisa. Thank you to Pete. You know, I'm going to be taking, we can't say, because it's a lot of it is, you know, we're not allowed to be talked about specifically, but we're taking some huge and enormous projects. And if you're seeing the people that we're interviewing, taking some enormous projects to worldwide distribution right now. And all things are getting formalized. So just know that whatever you're excited about that's happening at LA Tribune, more is coming. So that being said, thank you for giving me a few moments to share organically, whatever, and I'll give it back to you, Ava.
Well, no, Kaya, I really wanna highlight you. January was when we started Quantum Leap 2024. As a matter of fact, we started in Thanksgiving of last year, when we did our interview at the LA mission, feeding the homeless in LA Mission in downtown Los Angeles. And I remember you saying, when we aired it, that you've had your studio for a long time, and you've doubted yourself, and you've procrastinated and put it aside, and you didn't
Yeah.
feel like it was perfect enough or good enough, but
Mhm.
it propelled you to
Mhm.
start showing up, not worrying about how it looks or how imperfect or it is. And look at you 6 months later, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. I'm literally counting 6 months later, not even, maybe 5 months. And I just wanted to give that the first of all, the acknowledgement, Kaya. I mean, you're not new to the business. You could NLP yourself for sure.
Yeah.
But stepping into the uncomfortable, because as much as as much as people think that you're such a great interviewer, it was something that you had to courageously step into also, and like force yourself to
Oh,
get into.
if I can be so like piggyback on what you're saying, I'll share with you the audience. So I've been success coaching obviously for 20 plus years, training the number one offices, number one agents, real estate, mortgage, financial services, and network marketing. But when it came to podcasts, and I see all these incredible TV shows and all these incredible people doing all these great things, I felt like I don't know what to do. I don't even know where to start. I'm an expert at what I do, but when it comes to doing media and other things, I'm just clueless. So I invested in a program, spent quite a bit of money, started watching tapes, videos. And even after getting all that, I got set up a set. I'm all ready to go. And I feel like I was just like, what do I do next? Right. And so the moment, it's interesting because what the breakthrough that's coming to me right now, Ava, is we all have an idea, right? You've got a goal, you got a vision, you have an idea of how you're going to get to that goal, right? And then maybe you've experienced this where you're like, but something's holding me back, or I'm stuck, or I don't know, or what. And then next thing you know, the best way I would put it is God has a plan. God has a greater plan. God has an actual better plan. God has if I could give up, if I could let go of my mechanism. I took a program a long time ago, and it was actually, I think, called PSI, although it's based on the work of S. It's all self-development. It's been around for 30, 40 years. And when it's talking about, we all have an intention. You have an intention, but then we all get stuck. I got stuck in the mechanism. Okay, how? Here's the steps. Through my limited vision, right? Through my limited vision, these are the steps on how to do it. And so that's why I was stuck. And then God's like, don't worry about it, Kai. You're stuck. I got a better plan. It's the LA Tribune. It's Mo Rock. It's Ava. It's the team. It's, you don't need to recreate the wheel. You don't need to have the answers. What we can do is you can partner up with an incredible company with a great vision. And God has a plan. I believe this is God's work. This is God's plan. And so, as soon as that vision was given to me, and it happened in a city, I was sitting down with Mo Rock, our CEO of LA Tribune, sitting down at Starbucks, coming up with my little ideas of what we could do together. I had no idea there was a much bigger plan. And so I guess if I were to say for anybody a piece of advice, maybe you've got a goal and a vision that you're wanting to achieve, and maybe you don't know all the steps, is number one, choosing to do something that's there to serve humanity, because life supports what supports life. Making it not about you, taking yourself out of the equation. That's number one. Number two, partnering up with incredibly powerful people. Who are the people that you want to build something with, that are already where you want to go? The LA Tribune's already been there. Mo Rock, Ava, Alicia, the team, everyone else, Parisa, partner up with people that are one or two steps ahead, that are already doing. And then instead of saying, what can I get? Instead, think of, how can I give? How can I add? How can I complement to that? Because I think as soon as that happened, I'm now part of a bigger team. Like, how overwhelming, how stressful is it to build a vision by yourself where you have to wear all these hats? But what if you don't have to wear all these hats? What if you get to find the right people to partner up with that are all experts at what they do, and that you can come in and you can be that one of those pieces of the puzzle to make the gorgeous tapestry. And that's what I feel is really happening here. And you have new people joining every single day, joining this mission and this vision. So that's where I'm at now. And I would say it's changed my life. And I'm excited.
so proud of you. Like, I can't wipe the smile off of my face. I'm just so proud of you because you're really, you're so inspiring from just the moment you stepped in. I remember when we were first interviewing, it's like you're like, Holy Spirit, show us what to do. Holy Spirit, show us what to do.
I was in my head. I was in my head, and I think that is the problem. It's interesting being a success coach and then trying to do something different or new, and then now becoming the client who's stuck. I got in my head, and I've done what many of my clients I've done. I got in my head, and instead of getting in your head, get into your heart and just go with it. Take those steps, because whatever specialized knowledge we're waiting on to be able to get this information and the right steps, those steps will never show up until we just leap. So I think what we're doing right now is a company is we're pioneering. And I know Mo. I know he's got a lot of stuff going on in the pipeline in his head. He sees the vision more than what maybe I do or all of us do. And I know, and then maybe there's more that's being revealed to him in the game plan and the overall master plan of what we're building together. So that's the last piece of advice I would say for anybody is get out of your head, get into your heart, trust that the solutions will come. And again, we're just getting started.
Love this guy. And look, guy, you already quoted, instead of getting in your head, get in your heart and go with it. And Parisa, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Parisa has been a partner in the Los Angeles Tribune, even behind the scenes and through our travels and events. And he's seen a lot of the progress and the progressions of the Los Angeles Tribune through our partnerships, collaborations, and connections. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, because I could see you in the green room just like really beaming proud of Kaya.
Yep. Oh my goodness. It was so incredible to hear you talk, Kaya, and share about some of the pieces of last year, and Ava sharing kind of like this brief timeline. And I'm over here like, I remember these conversations.
You're on the freaking plane. Oh my gosh. We had dreams. Okay. Oh my gosh. You're right, Parisa. Yeah. We're on the plane and we're like, we should do
authentic conversations here, family.
Right.
Oh, no. I don't know what I said. I hope I didn't use a bad word. I remember we said we wanted to work close with the mayor. We had all these ideas. We were on a flight for 5 hours, and it was intoxicating being 1 foot away from Mo and Parisa and brainstorming on a plane together. It was literally intoxicating. Like, we couldn't sleep. It was like kids brainstorming. And we put that thought energy out there, and everything that we said we're going to do, we've actually already achieved it.
Yes. I have photos of all of the notes. Yes. I actually looked at them a few days ago. I'm like, this is wild. Yes, of course, we're not having these conversations to just have these conversations and have these ideas, right? We're having them because it's meaningful and purposeful, and we have that fire within us, right? But to actually be here right now and connecting these dots, like everything we talked about, yeah, we're here now. Done. Check mark. Let's go. What's next? Yeah. Show up with your heart, just like you said. So good. This has been such a beautiful, I can't even say conclusion, because we have our bonus day 8 and some incredible people coming tomorrow. But this has been such a beautiful way to kind of tie a bow on the first very full 7 days of this entire week. Like, my heart is full. I just sit here in such gratitude to be able to be a part of all of this, to be able to be a part of conversations with you and Mo and Ava last year, and to see all of this kind of come to fruition in such a really beautiful way, and not with a lot of hard work. So anyone hearing me, don't think that this is just like, oh, it falls, into place. No. got to work your butt off and be extremely adaptable, as Mo loves to talk about, and very creative, very innovative. You know, do everything you can, and it does come to fruition.
One of the I don't know if it's in The Secret. We've all heard of The Secret, right? And the law of attraction. And I always share what's the last 5 letters of the word attraction. When you think of the law of attraction, what's the last 5 letters of the word attraction?
TION.
Type in the chat. You guys, the worldwide audience, type in the chat. What's the last 6 letters? What's the last 6 letters of the word
6. I
attraction?
thought 4. Action.
Action. Boom. Barbie Layton. She is it. It's action. You know, so we will never attract, you'll never bring into your life anything unless you take the action part of the law of attraction. Another person that changed my life is Bob Proctor. He was the first person that woke me up. I was a very big mess in my early 20s and my 30s. Very challenged because of my past and my childhood and all my stuff that I went through. And I share that with some people when they come to attend our events. But Bob said there was maybe one disservice with The Secret. And he says, The Secret, albeit brought so much awareness to the world about this thing of positive thinking, it made it seem like you just wish for something, you just hope for something, and it shows up. He says that's the only part of The Secret where it gave or maybe perhaps a wrong impression. He says you never get in life what you wish for, what you hope for, or you pray for. It's like, ooh, man, so many people are wishing for and hoping for and praying for something.
Hold on, Kaya. Say it again for the people in the back.
Yeah, he says you never get in life what you wish for. This is Bob Proctor, rest his soul. He says, and he was my mentor. I literally flew to Toronto, and I was at Bob Proctor's house. And I shared the stage with him. That was crazy because when I first met Bob, I had no self-worth. I had no self-esteem. I had fear of public speaking. I used to stutter. I will share things, but I don't want to share here. Just know that I was a wounded person, very wounded in my 20s and my 30s because of my past. And I was making bad decisions, the wrong behaviors in my life, taking one step forward, two steps back. And he became my first mentor. And he says, Kai, you create your experience of reality. And I thought, no, I don't. My parents screwed up. My this did. I had everyone and anything to blame of why I was so stuck in my life because of what had happened in early years of my life. And he tasked me, he says, Kai, I trust the process. I want you to learn this. I want you to learn with me. I want you to learn about neuroscience, learn about neuro-linguistic programming. I want you to go to school and educate yourself and heal yourself. And then I have the mission for you. And I'm like, what's that mission? He said, one day, he said, I want you to form a mastermind. And I said, mastermind? What am I going to do in a mastermind? He says, I want you to form a mastermind and I want you to share what we're teaching you to other people. And so I had a mastermind together. And one day I got this random call from someone saying, is this Kaya? I'm like, ugh. I really hated being called Kaya. I just hated it so bad. I'm like, is this Kaya? Oh, sorry. Yeah, Kaya. You're the guy with the mastermind, right? And I said, yes. And the person said, I'm the managing partner at New York Life. I did not know what New York Life was. I'm the managing partner at New York Life. And we have a person in our company who has been really struggling, and we were going to fire him, but now he's number 2 in the office out of 50 or 100 agents. What exactly are you teaching him? Because we were going to fire him, and now he says he's been taking your mastermind for 7 weeks, and now he's really, really successful. And I said, well, I've been training him about, and start telling some of the curriculum. And then he invited me to come to the office. He says, would you train the rest of our team? I was nervous. I was sweating buckets. I had fear of public speaking. I was just barely getting learning from Bob. I still was deeply insecure. I still had so much self-doubt. I had no purpose, no direction. I didn't know who I was or what I was supposed to do with my life. And then I went to this office thinking I'm just gonna, like what we said today, my heart, and show up. I felt like something was, even though I had so much fear and anxiety of speaking and coaching and doing this for people. I felt like there was something, a magnet pulling me that I couldn't stop myself from showing up and going anyway, even though I was having literally anxiety, panic attacks every time I got on stage to say anything. I did the training for the office. And then what happened was I got a call 3 months later saying, Kaya, did you hear what happened to that office you trained? And I was like, oh, because everything's bad news. I had such negative thinking. I thought, oh my gosh, what did I do? I must have trained them. I must have done something wrong. I must have taught them a wrong way. Maybe they got sued because of what I had such a negative mindset. And that person says, Kai, you need to understand that office you trained went #1 in the nation. They went #1 in the nation. And I was in complete shock. And that's kind of how this whole journey started. Then all the New York Life offices started calling. I started training all the different New York Life offices, which then the Century 21 offices and all that. But back to Bob, the second biggest breakthrough Bob taught was, he says, you don't get in life what you wish for and you hope for or you pray for. And this was huge for me. He says, you get in life what you expect. You get in life what you expect. And so I found I had to really change my hardwiring. I had to really change my beliefs about myself, about my role in this universe. And when I finally was able to accept a new model of the world or a new map of the world and expect not just good things, but expect good things for the people that I coach and train, everything changed. So my question to us is not just what our goals or what our dreams or what our desires of, which many people, they push it out 2 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. But what do you expect? And inspect what you expect. And if there's something that you expect, is it in alignment with your vision? Is it tied to your limiting self-talk or limiting self-belief? Or are you expecting greatness from you? One of my mentors, Les Brown, he says, you have greatness within you. He brought me on his TV show, radio show, KFWB, 15 years ago. I was still new, barely trained by Bob. And he said, I can't wait to share the stage with you. You have greatness in you. And what I felt like Les Brown did for me is he held up a mirror and said, look, you may not see this in yourself, Kaya, just yet, but I see this in you. He held that mirror up to me and he said, you have greatness in you. And so that's why it's so important that we're always tuned into the LA Tribune. We're listening every single week to every single quarter, every time we have an event, a leadership summit, a quantum leap summit, a think and grow rich summit. Because if you've heard of, and I know I'm going on, if you've heard of the person with the highest recorded IQ in history, her name is Marilyn Savant. Marilyn Savant was asked once, this is the woman with the highest recorded IQ in history, which, yes, is a woman. She was asked, can you predict someone's future? And she was asked, can you predict someone's future? She said, yes, I can predict someone's future. All I have to do is ask you 2 questions. Question 1 is, we've heard this. Who are the 5 people, right? Who are the 5 people that you, we surround ourselves with? Our life, our results, our success, our income even will be directly proportionate to the average of the 5 people we spend most of our time with. And then the second question, she says, is what do you feed your mind? What books, what tapes, what CDs do you feed your mind? And that's what the LA Tribune is really doing. It's really hitting the 2 greatest pieces of wisdom that came from the person with the highest recorded IQ in history, which is number 1, it's the circle of influence. The 220, 250 speakers, now the boxing legends, now next the new thought best leaders in the world. We're creating a relationship, all the top people in the world, number 1. And number 2, you're feeding your mind. So go back and listen to these recordings. Hypnotize yourself. People go, hypnosis. Ooh, hypnosis. No, you want to hypnotize yourself with positive messages and turn the dang TV off. Stop reading the news. Stop reading all the fear mongering. Stop buying into the fear-based, negative, problem-based narrative out there and be part of the LA Tribune. And if you know anybody that's not a member, not following the LA Tribune, send this link out. This video, last video, the next one, these interviews, send this out to people, 10 people that you know around the world that don't know what's happening with the LA Tribune, so we can continue to change the world. And that's, with that being said, thank you for indulging me in my
Well, that's
excitement
a masterclass.
and my enthusiasm. I give it back to you, Ava.
That's a masterclass, to our global audience, in our virtual auditorium. There, you've got a lot of love, being given to you, Kaya. I don't know if you've seen. Nicole said, this completely filled my heart. And what a beautiful way to close day 7. Yeah, that was definitely a masterclass. What a beautiful way to complete day 7. And we did say that it is a week, ideally 7 days. And this is ideally the close of 7 days, except we now have a whole day bonus, day 8.
It's like a baker's dozen, but the additional day. I don't know what that would be for a week, but it's like a baker's dozen. You get an extra one.
Always, right? So tomorrow, I want to tee up 11:30. We still have Russell Brunson coming.
Boom. Mic drop.
Yes. So we start tomorrow at 11 a.m. A little different. We usually always start at 10, but tomorrow, because it's our bonus days, we start at 11 with Michael Silvers. And then leading to Russell Brunson around midday, somewhere around there, 1 o'clock. And then we've got a panel from Dame Doria Money and You, panel from Eric Swanson, also from Habitude Warrior. And then we still have a segment that you might bring again, Sir Kaya Redford. I know that you're still working, a few things out.
I've got a couple. One person, my father passed away with prostate cancer, many years ago, and I have an incredible individual who is leading a vision, and he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and he is not giving up. He's not leaving without fighting a good fight and doing some incredible things. So we'd love to share his story. And there's 1 or 2 other people that will be joining, so we'll be in communication with them as well.
So perfect. That might look into a day 9, but we are so excited that we're closing day 7 with your story, Kaya. What an inspiring story. It's one thing to see you interviewing all of the boxing legends. It's another for people to be able to see themselves in you and be able to say, really? Like, does it look like that can happen to me? Like, I can do it too? Absolutely. 100%. But it comes with expectation, right, Kaya? Expect. To expect the goodness. So in closing, I would love to be able to just give us, some closing words. What are your takeaways? What are you looking forward to? Let's start with Parisa Rose, and we'll close with you, Sir Kaya. Parisa Rose.
Oh my goodness. My closing words. Do I have any? I just have a full heart. I want to reflect on one thing that Kaya said, and I'm going to make it brief, that, about the expectance piece. Like, what do you expect in life? What are you expecting of yourself? And if your life doesn't reflect what you expect, then you might want to look at what you believe you're worthy of. Because a lot of us don't believe we're worthy of what we think we believe we're worthy of. So allow that to be a very, very loving reflection in the mirror, and that might provide some clarity. And see y'all tomorrow morning.
See you tomorrow morning. I actually love the expectation. I feel like expectation propels you beyond just trust, because there's something, like we're working on worthiness, self-acceptance, trust, and then there's expectation. I mean, just the word itself puts you into a totally different vibration, to expect, beyond just trusting. There's also that you trust yourself and then you expect. I feel like it's just so much higher. So thank you for bringing that, Kaya. That's the highlight of my day. Want to appreciate Nicole, who's giving us all of the flowers in the comment. Nicole Kali, yes, we were amazing. Thank you. And the power of expectation, Mike Spillman. Kaya, close us out for tonight. What are your final thoughts?
When we think of you know, you don't get in life what you hope, you wish, you pray for. You get in life what you expect. Something that I notice that people are challenged by is what they expect is based on a map of the world of past failures. And so someone might be seeing this and going, okay, how do I change what I expect? How do I upgrade what I expect? You know, I can say it, but do I really believe it? And one of the things that I've noticed with people is they have a self-perception. I had a self-perception, but then there's the universe's perception, or call it God's perception. And so what I've done, and I hope this resonates with you as you're watching this audience. I know that there may be people that are belief in a higher power, some that don't, and we respect all people's rights and choices, decisions to believe in or not, or whatever that is. So even if it's not God for you, or love, or the universe, or Jesus, or Buddha, or Allah, maybe for you it's your higher self or your future self. The big breakthrough for me is letting go of what my belief is for myself and stepping into what the universe belief of me is. There's no way the universe sees me as small or little or insignificant. The universe sees me as a divine creation of the universe. And so if I were to let go of my perception of self and step into God's perception of me, then that's where it really starts. Give up the Course in Miracles. A big study in the Course in Miracles says, give up the grandiosity of our ego and step into the grandeur of your creator. And that's what it is for me. I'm super grateful. I believe we're all have this unique greatness. And so if there's somebody in here in this leadership week that's inspiring you, then they're just reminding you of that you have greatness in you. And now is the time for you to expect great things of you. You will get in life pretty much what your standards are, what you'll accept. So it's not just what you expect, but what you will accept. You'll get in life what you accept in your life. And so start to set a higher standard of what you'll accept and create strong boundaries of what you won't accept. And a lot of those are your own choices and decisions. We all know we need to wake up early in the morning. We know we need to eat the right foods. We know we need to exercise. We know we need to meditate. We know we need to be, reading and growing. And we know we need to do all these things. And so the more you put energy and time into your growth, the more you will become who you want to be. If I were to say for me, other than God, other than family, what's the single biggest and most important value for me? The value that would drive everything to flourish in my life, my family's life, my kids' life, and everybody's life, it's that one word called growth. Because if I focus on growth, I'll become a better son, better father, better leader, better coach, better person, better everything. If I put growth as my number one value, I will become what I'm supposed to become, or what I get to become. And so, again, everything we're talking about, the leadership, LA Tribune is already doing it. So with that said, continue to grow, watch us grow, watch us help you grow, and let's go all the way to the top.
All the way to the top. And bringing it back as we close, the words from our CEO Mo Rock's TEDx talk, the heart behind this movement. So have an amazing evening, and we'll leave you with the words from Mo Rock.
Imagine waking up in the morning, grabbing your morning coffee, and opening up your daily newspaper to nothing but headlines that inspire and uplift you. Headlines like the Apollo 11 moon landing and how it inspired people in the 60s, or headlines like the Berlin Wall has collapsed, or even more recently, headlines like the miracle on the Hudson. What would that do to your day when you started off with just positive news? My name is Mo Rock. I'm the CEO of a national newspaper brand, and today, together, we are reimagining journalism. You see, studies reveal that there is a stark contrast between positive news and negative news. In fact, for every piece of news that is solutions-based, that can uplift and inspire you, there are at least 17 that don't. That's 17 to 1. So today, we are actually faced with an epidemic of negative news. We've all heard the phrase, if it bleeds, it leads. But why does this have to be the centerpiece of a lot of news production, journalism, and content creation of the world today? There are a lot of incredible journalists that are solutions orientated, and I give a lot of credit to them for doing a great job. And here's the truth that you may not realize, is that everyone in this room is impacting our news. You see, every single time you like a post, every single time you leave a comment on a news article, and every single time you share something, you're not just liking, commenting, and resharing. You're actually casting a vote. You're not only casting a vote for the kind of news you want to consume, but believe it or not, you're casting a vote for the kind of world you want to live in. You see, I believe that news has the power to not just inform you, but it has the power to mold you. Our world views are largely shaped based on the news and content that we consume. And so I want to encourage folks to remember that the next time that they like, comment, and share. Our organization has one question that it always has to ask before we share anything, print anything, or publish anything. Our editorial team asks this one very simple question. Does the following piece of news empower our audience, or does it disempower our audience? What would the world look like if every content creator, every journalist, every time someone posted a news article, they asked that question? Does the following piece of content empower our audience or disempower our audience? And I want to encourage everyone to participate in this process and help us bridge that gap between 17 negative news articles for every one positive. And let's come together and ultimately make this world a better place. Thank you.